There are towns in America where the mornings are quiet, where the roads stretch straight and long, and where the days begin without urgency, only routine. Valdosta, Georgia, is one of those places. A town that moves slowly. A place where people know each other's names, and where families are woven into the soil just as deeply as the pine trees that stand on the horizon. In January of 2013, inside this school, a story began that would twist itself into one of the most disturbing mysteries of the decade. A story that would pull apart a family, divide a town, and leave a haunting question echoing in every quiet hallway. What really happened to Kendrick Johnson? Kendrick Johnson was 16. A son, a student, a brother, a quiet kid, soft-spoken, and known for his warm smile. He loved athletics, football, track, and basketball. But more than anything, he loved being around his friends. Those who knew him say he had a gentle confidence. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that needed to be seen. Just the kind that made people feel safe when he was around. On January 10, 2013, Kendrick attended school as usual. Classes passed. The day unfolded the same as the others before it. There was no sign, not one of the storms that was about to break. The following day, a group of students walked into the old gym. The one not used for classes anymore, just for extra equipment, storage, practice mats. They were talking, laughing, the way students do, until they saw something that didn't make sense. In the center of the gym stood a tall, vertical mat, one of the heavy wrestling mats rolled tight and stored upright for space. And inside that mat, upside down, was Kendrick Johnson. Students froze. The teachers rushed in. 911 was called. But inside that mat, Kendrick was already gone. His body was removed. His shoes placed beneath him. His face marked by the position he was found in. Head first, suspended vertically in the narrow hollow of the mat. For many, the explanation would soon sound impossible. For others, it would sound all too convenient. Authorities quickly suggested that Kendrick had climbed into the mat while reaching for a shoe and had gotten stuck. That it was an accident, a tragic, freak event. Case closed. But nothing about what followed felt like closure. Not to his classmates, not to the community, and certainly not to his family. For them, the story didn't end in that gym. It began there. When Kendrick didn't come home that night, his family noticed immediately. He wasn't the type to disappear. Not without calling. Not without a message. Not without a reason. His mother, Jacqueline Johnson, called his phone. Texted. Called again. No answer. She felt the worry begin to grow, the kind that starts small and then builds, quietly, relentlessly. By morning, the fear had settled in. She drove to the school. She walked through those hallways herself. She asked teachers, administrators, students, anyone who would listen. Have you seen my son? But no one had. The call came shortly after. The one no parent should ever receive. Her son had been found. Inside the gym. Unresponsive. The world around her collapsed. The story spread through Valdosta with a speed that felt unreal. Whispers in hallways. Text messages between students. Phones lighting up with disbelief. A boy had been found inside a wrestling mat, upside down. The official explanation, the one the sheriff's office released, was simple. Too simple. Kendrick had been reaching into the rolled mat for a shoe. He slipped. He got stuck. He suffocated. An accident. Case closed. Just like that. But the Johnson family could not and would not accept that. Because they knew their son. They knew his habits. They knew his logic, his strengths, his instincts. They knew he would never crawl headfirst into a mat for a shoe. And especially not like the mats stored at Valdosta High School. Mats that stood nearly 6 feet tall when rolled upright, with openings barely 14 inches wide. Kendrick was 5'10", athletic, strong, agile. To believe the official explanation, you would have to believe he willingly climbed into a space where his shoulders barely fit. Inch by inch, willingly headfirst. The family asked questions. Simple questions. Reasonable questions. But the answers they received were not satisfying. The first autopsy concluded that Kendrick had died of positional asphyxia, suffocation caused by being trapped upside down. But something about his injuries did not match that. His face was swollen. Extremely. His jaw looked out of alignment. There were signs to the family resembled trauma. So, they requested a second autopsy. Privately. At their own expense. And the second autopsy changed everything. The independent medical examiner concluded that Kendrick did not die accidentally. He determined that Kendrick had suffered blunt force trauma to the neck. Not an accident. Not misadventure. Assault. Possibly murder. This was the moment the Johnson family realized something was very wrong. Not just with how Kendrick died, but with how his death was being explained. And if the autopsies contradicted each other, what else was being overlooked? Or ignored? When the results of the second autopsy became public, the story should have shifted. It should have prompted new interviews, fresh evidence reviews, revised conclusions. It did not. The sheriff's office stood by their original finding. Death by accident. Case closed. Even as the science now disagreed. Even as a family pleaded for the truth. But science was not the only contradiction. There was also the matter of the surveillance footage. Because Valdosta High School had cameras, many cameras. Cameras watching the hallways. The gym entry. The area where the mats were stored. Cameras that should have shown Kendrick's final movements. But what they revealed instead was silence. When the Johnson family requested the footage, they were given hours of video. Footage that appeared ordinary. Students walking. Hallways. Gym doors. But as they watched carefully frame by frame, something became clear. Parts of the footage were missing. Moments that should exist. Do not. Video skips. Time jumps. Entire camera angles that should have recorded movement were empty. Or gone. Or offline. The school and investigators said the gaps were normal. That cameras do not always record. That they trigger on movement. But there was no clear explanation for why multiple angles in multiple locations failed to capture Kendrick Johnson in the moments before his death. And then there was the issue of the shoe. The shoe Kendrick was supposedly reaching for when he fell into the mat. It was found near his body, inside the mat. But the shoe had no blood, no biological trace, no sign of struggle, no sign of contact with Kendrick's face, which was heavily marked by the position he was found in. If he had suffocated upside down, struggling, the shoe should have shown something, anything, but it did not. The Johnson family requested Kendrick's body for burial. They believed they were burying their son, his body whole, untouched, preserved. But months later, when the second autopsy was performed, a horrifying discovery was made. Kendrick's internal organs were gone. His body had been filled with newspaper. The funeral home later said this was common practice when organs are not returned after autopsy. The county said the organs were destroyed due to bacterial contamination. But no documentation existed. No clear chain of explanation that satisfied logic or grief. The answer has not come. The silence has not ended. The story is not finished, not yet.